born Ogechukwu Fumilola Modie on January 12, 1976. Oge is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of NOIPOLLS Limited. She is the first woman to head Nigeria's leading independent opinion polling and research organization and holds a Master's in Business Administration degree from the Cranfield University School of Management, United Kingdom. Before assuming office as the CEO of NOIPOLLS, Oge worked with Augusto and Company Limited, Nigeria's first indigenous credit rating company, and then later joined the Heirs Alliance team, a portfolio company founded by Nigerian billionaire Tony Ndume. Welcome, Oge, to International Focus on Nigeria with me, Green Ndume.
Oge, you're welcome to International Focus Nigeria.
Thank you.
CEO of NOIPOLLS. NOIPOLLS and polls in Africa, does that still work?
Yes, I think very much so. Polls are very important in trying to put together the voice of Nigerians, voice of Africans, so they can support the decision-making process across governments, across business owners, and also across advocates, people that want to push for policy change. So yes, I think it's catching on in Africa.
And what have been some of the polls that you have done so far, and what has been the reception of Nigerians? Because I know that polls usually work in America and the Western countries, other parts of the world. Okay,
so the polls we do cover a wide sphere. So we look at political polls, we look at social economic polls, we're looking at business polls, and things to do with the environment. One that has been very critical to the Nigerian populace is that on power. So since January 2013, we've been rating improvements in power to households. Another key thing also is when you have change or when a bill is out. So the anti-same-sex marriage bill, when it was released, we also wanted to find out what Nigerians thought about.
That's interesting.
Were in support. 98% were in support of the anti-same-sex bill, saying that, of course, homosexuality wasn't in our culture. Things like governance. So we ask Nigerians beginning of every year what they think the government should focus on in the year. Of course, power always comes out. Security now is key. And then things round about job creation. NOIPOLLS have been in existence for 7 years. So all of this information is something
7 years? But yes. I heard about them. I just got to know about them like a couple of months ago.
Okay.
It means that you're not spreading your tentacles enough.
We are spreading our tentacles. I just think that it's the catch of people using the data. There's always like gap, a wide gap in data when you're looking for African, news on African countries. So a lot of people use external narratives. So what is the World Bank saying? What is the United Nations saying? But what NOIPOLLS is doing is pushing the internal narratives for Africa. So we are saying, this is what Nigerians think about this. This is what Africans think about this. And so, it's what really people are now trying to catch on to that, using those internal narratives rather than external narratives.
I understand that people were expected to spread into other West African other West African countries until the Ebola outbreak came up.
Yes.
But what have been what policy have you adopted so far to make these things acceptable across Africa apart from Nigeria? Okay,
so one thing we do, we're very, very active on social media. And social media is a platform that can, launch you globally. You don't have to be in America to be able to share your information. So what has happened is that we have quite a lot of people interested in our work. So a lot of academics from America, Columbia University, New York University, Johns Hopkins University are very much interested in the kind of work we do. You have people from South Africa. So a lot of people come onto that platform and discuss issues that are pertinent to them. For instance, we had a South African talk about bleaching. So we did a poll on skin bleaching because WHO released that 70% of Nigerian women are using skin bleaching products. So
that's
wanted
interesting.
To very, very interesting. So a lot of what we do on social media sort of launches us out there to the global world, and we have a lot of people from across. In fact, we did have people from I think one of these Asian countries just writing to say, look, we want more information on this. We have a lot of our polls being carried out across Australia, Austria, quite a lot of it. So that's how we're launching to the world, and that's been working pretty well for us.
And you were the manager, corporate venture and incubation at Heirs Alliance, set up by Nigerian billionaire Tony Ndume, where you were part of the team that managed the financial services portfolio of over $5 billion. Now, you have a wide experience in corporate finance, and I mean, yet Africa seems to be having this challenge of finance management and all that. Do you think that Africa's problem, coming from your angle of who you are and your background, is Africa's problem more of political or more of money or economics?
Well, I would say it's a mix of all sorts. Is the money there? Yes, I think the money finds good ideas. So if you have a very good idea and you have solid management, you'll find the money. I don't think money always is a problem. I think our key issue is really understanding where we are as a continent and the inherent possibilities we have as a continent. I think as long as we realize that we are, growing, we are expanding, we are the best at certain things, as long as we realize that, then we can tap into all that potential. So I think really the issue is about governance. So we need better leaders, we need people who can see far and can take their people far with them. I think that we also need people to start to understand the inherent possibilities that Africa as a continent can give. And then I think, of course, we're in the promised land.
And also as the fund director of West Africa's Makeda Fund Managers LLC, you made a lot of points about women investing and all that. And do you think that enough awareness has been generated in terms of, encouraging women to grow business?
Not enough. I mean, in my 16 years as a finance person, women remain the best managers and remain the best people you can lend to. But not enough is being done to support the African woman. I think that's because of our culture and the society we are.
I was about to talk about that.
Yeah, so you have, if you're very successful, you're looked at being, there's just this sort of stereotype that they put around African women. So I don't think enough is being done, and I think that governments should start to support women. I mean, I'll give to the federal government, are back home in Nigeria, very supportive of women in terms of, you look at the cabinet, the number
We'll talk
of
about
women.
that when we come from the break.
Okay.
Short commercial break, I'll be right back. You're welcome back. It's International Focus Nigeria IFM with Green Ndume. Okay, nice to have you here.
Thank you.
About women empowerment and the responsibilities, what government in Nigeria has been doing in terms of empowering women. The other day I had the MD of UBA Ghana on my show, and she happens to be the first woman to have assumed that office in Ghana. And we had this similar conversation, and I was of the view, I asked the question whether it is still not true that the mentality that we Africans have towards African women is still sort of influencing our reasoning in terms of and how we treat women on the continent. Does that also reflect into encouraging women to invest, just like we were talking about before the break?
Yes, I think that, but I think some of that is changing. I think there seems to be like a paradigm shift. People are starting to see women more as, taking their place in the business society. But
people like you.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah, you do have very powerful women back in Nigeria who are MD CEOs of, very big banks, big organizations. And I think that people are starting to, as they see those women within the landscape, people are starting to take that responsibility of saying, yes, we can support women. But I'm very particular about the entrepreneurs, the women who need money to start their businesses. And that's where I feel that awareness and support should come in by the government, women associations, banks, private equity funds. I just think that some should be dedicated solely to women.
And as NOI, have you done any poll in terms of how government's response to women empowerment in Nigeria has worked out? Have you done anything like that?
I haven't done that. But we've done, polls on businesses and what businesses desire and sort of things that business support. But no, we haven't done any poll on,
Do you think that the Nigerian government has done well, have done very enough in terms of empowering women?
Well, enough, no. Have they done well? So far, yes. I think that, in the 16 years that I've been in the finance industry, I think that a lot more funds are being dedicated to women now. So we have the UWIN, the second or third UWIN that was dedicated to women alone. I have like 2 or 3 friends who won. Then we have the SME fund also, which CBN also was dedicating to women. Then you have Access Bank. Access Bank also has a GEM fund that is dedicated to women. So I think that now more people are starting to see the need to support women businesses because they tend to grow very fast. They create a lot of jobs. And I mean, the ripple effect of having a woman at the top is massive. So I think that, yes, I think that in this time, some effort is being made.
Do you foresee that as a result of these steps being taken, we may likely see a female president?
Why not? I would very much even like to be a female president.
Oh, that's interesting to know.
Yes, but yeah, I believe we would see one.
And so let's look at other issues. Polls. Next year, 2015, Nigeria goes to the polls. Yeah. We want to see whether or not President Jonathan is going to be elected for another term, or we may see a new president. What is NOI doing for us to get an idea of what we'll be expecting in next year?
It's a very exciting time, I think. And we've been doing this journey to 2015 elections. So it's a poll that we do every 2 months. And the poll looks at, voters' behavior, voting patterns. We look at the free and fair election in terms of if people believe that INEC will be free and fair. And we also look at what we call the viability of potential presidential candidates. So typically, Nigerians believe that INEC will conduct a free and fair election only, it's conditional, if they're independent and unbiased. Nigerians also will vote for a person and not a party. So most people will tend to vote for someone they like.
Are we really getting to that side of our politics?
That's the
because
pattern.
We used to know that political parties win elections without knowing who the candidates were.
Yes, but I think now that most people will follow a person. And of course, when you go to vote, because I voted last time, it's not really the person you'll see, but the party. So, but I think that roundabout, the party then, can go around the person, and so you recognize, when you see this person, you recognize that that's the party. But most people say they'll vote for a person and not a party.
So who is winning this election?
We have no idea. We haven't done, until both parties finish their primaries and bring out the presidential candidates, then we can do a poll, what we call a pre-election poll, to find out who Nigerians will vote for if the elections were to hold the next day.
If this election were, so you have no idea if we are to hold this election?
Yeah, because we don't yet have presidential candidates.
We have, Jonathan has declared.
Well, we don't have for APC
Let's
yet.
look at APC, for example. We have Atiku coming up, we have Buhari coming up, we have Kwankwaso also coming up, Tambuwa, the Speaker of House of Reps, withdrew from it. What is NOI saying in terms of who will emerge as APC's presidential candidate?
Okay, so we did a viability.
Okay.
A viability poll looks at how viable a potential candidate is. And that measures his familiarity, which is how well he's known, versus his favorability, which is how well liked he is. And in that poll, the first two candidates, which, if APC can put forward, which most people, or had a high, what we call a high favorability, net positive, was Babatunde Fashola and Rochas Okorocha.
That's interesting.
Very interesting.
And two of them have not
exactly.
indicated
So
interest
every other person you've called is in the fourth quadrant where they're well known but not well liked.
Oh, wow, I see. That's interesting.
So, I mean, if going by that report, if ABC were to say we want to fill candidates tomorrow, those first two are the most viable. But then, like we said, a whole lot of activity in terms of, when you start working on someone's favorability, so you start doing a lot of public image laundering and that sort of thing, can help push the person up to the quadrants where they become positive and they can be voted for.
But has there been any test to know Jonathan's popularity in terms of?
Oh yes, he was number one in that list. Yes, he was number one. So he had a net favorability of 25%. So he came first, Babatunde Fashola second, and Rochas Okorocha came third in that poll in terms of viability. And viability just means that if these people were to be fielded as their party's candidates, they have a likelihood to win an election or at least to do very well in an election.
These are very interesting statistics. We'll go for a short commercial break. We'll be right back. A very interesting conversation I have here with Oge in the studio. Oge, welcome back once again. Now, we look at Nigeria as a country, our challenges that we've had, I would like to know from you, I ask this question to all my guests who come on the show, is there any other country in the world where you would want to come from apart from Nigeria? We want to know that country.
No, I love Nigeria. I'm Nigerian in and out. I'm so excited that I'm Nigerian. I schooled in England, but finished school, came back home immediately. I would do it all over again. I think that we're blessed. I think there's so much potential that we're yet to, discover in Nigeria. And I'm really excited to be part of the journey that Nigeria is taking.
I have been to a couple of countries with my crew on this show, and we have tried to project the positive side of Nigeria, because we believe that Nigeria is a wonderful country. But that has not prevented us from seeing the tough sides, where people would outrightly put you on a stereotypical map because of the passport you're carrying. Have you experienced that kind of thing before? Have you been victimized because you are in Nigeria?
Let me think hard. No. Let me think really hard. No. I don't think I've been picked out of a line before because I'm Nigerian or I have a Nigerian passport. I've not had that experience. I just think that sometimes, if you fall within a profile, it doesn't really matter about your country. You'll be picked out, in a line to come and answer some questions. So no, I've not had that issue happen before.
And do you think that we are getting it right as a country? Are we getting to that place? Are we gradually moving towards the center of our evolution as a better nation?
Okay, so I always ask people, define what you mean by better, because everyone is in a stage of growth. US is still in a stage of growth. England is in a stage of growth. Many countries are still growing. So we do have our teething problems, but that doesn't put us in a place where we feel we're not making any progress. So progress has been made. I just think that, as Nigerians, we should actually be more positive about the things that, we as a country can achieve, rather than just look at what others are doing. So are we getting there? It's a journey. We just need to define where we're going first. And then, we are just sure that we're on the right path and we're getting there.
Brain drain has been a big problem that we have in Nigeria. Do you think that the brain drain problem, the brain drain challenge, is still affecting the Nigerian nation?
Yeah, there's a lot of brain gain happening now, yes. I'll use the music industry, for instance. You see all the stars that, we're moving with Beyonce, moving with all the big stars, Mary J. Blige. They're all coming back. Tiwa Savage, I think, used to be a backup singer for Mary J. Blige. Shei, I think, was for Beyonce. Everyone is coming home to start their own music, to sing, to create. So I think that a lot is happening. Doctors are coming back. A lot of people are, beginning to see Nigeria as an emerging economy. So people are saying we need to come home and do stuff. So I think the brain drain happened during the military era a lot, because I lived on the campus. My dad. But
one would also think that it has not we have not outrightly been able to overcome it significantly, because electricity is still a major challenge that we have.
I agree.
Transportation is still a major challenge that we have. And these are things that are quickly accessible in the Western world, where most of these people are resided. And now, if we say that we are now approaching a major side of, looking at brain gain to brain drain being major. Do you think that these challenges have, in a way, influenced how the level at which we could have gained from our diaspora population?
I think these challenges haven't hindered, to a large extent, people coming back. It's almost like people see, okay, we have a power problem, but there's an alternative power supply that we can, address or, use. I think that it would always be some sort of limiting, barrier to those who are well established over there and who have to think carefully about coming home. But sometimes people who just feel, okay, let's take the risk, let's come home. I think that they look at these challenges and say, okay, we can just keep working. I mean, Nigerians tend to be the toughest people, I think, on the face of the earth. They take things in the face and keep running.
Other Africans are going to challenge you for saying
No,
that.
I think we are. I mean, I've gone to other African countries. I think that Nigerians tend to be very, very tenacious about stuff.
Do you think that this tenacity, this sort of resoluteness of the Nigerian constitutes part of the problem that
It does. It does. It does, because it's hinged on hope. And there's this indicator that we measure Nigerians. It's called the Personal Well-Being Indicator. And this Personal Well-Being Indicator looks at 7 different indicators. Of one is a religious one. The religious one has always remained in the 80s and the 90s, meaning that Nigerians are highly satisfied with their religious, and that's what hinges, that's the hope. It hinges on everything. You hear the typical thing, it is well, God will do it by God's grace. So it's the hope that they carry. And yes, it could be a serious problem for all of us.
So are we going to be expecting any polls from NOI in terms of the brain gain and brain drain thing? Are we looking out for polls? I mean, I'll be interested. I'm very, very interested in following your polls as it stands now. So what are some of the polls that we should be looking at as it stands? Okay,
as it stands now, business polls on the telecom industry, the power, rating the power, governance, we're the first ever doing job approval ratings for the president. So yes, you should, that's
what are your hopes? What are the things you're expecting to see in Nigeria in the next 20 years? What are your hopes?
Well, I believe that we'll first surmount the infrastructure challenges that we have. I think that's key as a business person. I think that once that happens, I don't think we'll be having this issue.
Are you saying that the infrastructure in Nigeria has not been sufficient enough to provide for some of the responsibilities that our country would have needed to cater for in terms of the people and making the society a better place?
Yes, I believe so. I think power is very key. If power is sorted, you would have a lot more businesses.
And what role are we expecting to see you play in terms of this new vision for Nigeria?
NOIPOLLS will continue to put on a platform the voices of Nigerians. We'll continue to say what Nigerians are saying about a topic. We'll continue to push it out there in the public space so that people that can use that data to start to make the better decisions that can enhance the economy, enhance the social well-being of Nigerians. So that's the part that NOIPOLLS will be playing, continually giving voice to Nigerians, and supporting the decision-making process by doing that.
It's been a wonderful opportunity to have you in the studio today.
Thank you.
We hope to see you again.
I hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, Fumilola Modie. She is the CEO of NOIPOLLS. It's been a wonderful opportunity to have you on the show. Thank you. Stick around, we'll hook up again next time. It's Green Ndume, your regular host. Bye-bye.